something that we should all implement. I want to ask you one other question, and a lead up to this thing. The day I signed up for my half marathon, my first half marathon, couple of days before that, my friend said, "Hey, by the way, you should do carb loading, right? Because you'll be running this long distance." And until then, my training runs used to be 1 2 hours and all that. I didn't do anything special in terms of food. It's like, after the run, you just have, maybe one something extra to compensate for what you've expended. But they built up this carb loading so much in my head. I'm like, "Acha, what do I do?" Like, a काम कर, just let's go to a pizza place, have as much pizza pasta that you can put in your body. I'm like, okay, fine. You guys are experienced. You're telling me what to do. I did that, and oh boy, the next day my run was terrible. I just did not enjoy it. Uh, and again, I think this concept of how much to eat the day before a run and all that. What does your, I guess, pre-workout diet look like, and post-workout?
So I'm not a so there are different schools of thought around it, carb loading and not carb loading. So I'm not a big fan of carb loading because I know exactly what my body needs. I don't try to experiment with food at all leading up to the race, but I ensure that fluid intake is good because I will be dehydrated. I don't want to get dehydrated and have cramp issue. So I ensure that there is good fluid restoration and good fluid balance in the body. So I have a lot of water and other sort of drinks, energy drinks. I mean, I have some tablets from Univate. So I ensure fluid intake, but I will not experiment too much on food. I don't have pasta and all those things. And for 21K, you don't need to do carb loading because your body has enough energy. Only the half marathon will finish in 3 hours. So, so full marathon, maybe couple of days before you may need to have carbs, but that need not exceed what you are doing otherwise. Also, just keep it at that. That is one thing. What is the next question?
Yeah, just and post-workout, like after your long run.
Yeah, pre-workout. So see, mine is very simple. Early morning, I will have a glass of lukewarm water to flush my toxins. And then in the morning, I will have a black coffee without sugar. I have stopped sugar, refined sugar for last 9 years. So I just have black coffee. Black coffee is a strong stimulant for pre-workout, and that's it for me. But as I'm telling you, different things work for different people. For me, this is good. So when a long run for me is 40 to 50 kilometers. So I'm just defining that. So long
Sure.
run for somebody is very relative. It may be 21 kilometers. For people, so one thing I want to caution people is that, and the mistake I made is that when you are running, do not drink water when you are thirsty. Drink your water before you are thirsty. So when you're drinking water, also you should sip water. You should not drink it. So sip one sip every 500 meters is good. Okay, so that's what I do. There are a lot of energy drinks in the market, but you should be very careful what you should drink. You should understand your body again, and you can have a banana or something after you finish. But I give a gap of 1 hour after my run, so I have something called as elite uh, recovery mix, or I have a powder with the elite recovery mix. That's when I do really long, 35, 40 beyond that. And then I have normal food. I have homemade food. I avoid fast food. I avoid food from outside because when I have food from home, I can control the ingredients in it. I know exactly what are the ingredients prepared in that food. So ensure that you have nutritious food after a long run and you have lot of rest, ice bath, and then sleep. That's what I do.
Thanks so much, Shajan. I mean, this has been a very good conversation.